What is poppin', everybody? I'm your main man, Dauda, and just want to say is Ramadan Mubarak or Eid Mubarak, depending on where you're listening to around the world. And also, I have like a really special guest for the third episode of Inside Deez Mindz. She is part of like one half of the band called Trundled, if I actually pronounce it right. Also, she is also releasing an album called Stars Crossed, which seems to catch my eye a bit. The fact that it is something I never heard before, like ever. But right now, I am joined with Ellen Braun.
Hi, Dada. How are you?
I am good. You?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So, what can you tell me about your album Stars Crossed?
So, Star Crossed is a compilation of 4 songs, and I was asked to write some music for the production of Romeo and Juliet theater in the park that's happening in Canmore, Alberta, which is where I live. And so these are 4 songs that I'd either already written and kind of rejigged a little bit, or that I wrote specifically for this play of Romeo and Juliet. And I'm actually performing them in Canmore the first week of July for this theater festival. And so I decided I have this group of 4 songs. They're all love themed, and I decided to put them all into one album together. So that's sort of what inspired it all.
All right. Also, what made you want to choose? How come there's only like 4 songs in the album entirely?
Yeah, well, so there's a couple factors there. One is just, getting out there and getting the time to actually record this stuff in time for this particular festival. And these are 4 songs of mine that are featured in the play. So I wanted to just include the songs that are going to be in the production. So I do have lots more. I've been writing a ton. So there'll be more coming eventually this year. But for now, I decided these 4 were a nice little collection to put out together.
All right. So were there was it like really hard trying to figure out how you want your album to like look or like how it sound, stuff like that?
Yeah, so in terms of how it looks, I asked my friend who's a graphic designer to take on this project to design it for me, the cover, and just to work her magic. That's not my strong suit. So what she did was listen to all the songs, and she knows me. So she chose, a font and a theme that matched me, and we chose this picture. It's a photo of me in Utah, which is actually shortly after I wrote 2 of these songs. So it kind of makes sense that that's the picture that I probably was playing one of those songs in the photo. So yeah, we just threw it all together.
All right. What inspired you to actually write these songs in particular, or were there like any influence of musical artists that you listened to while growing up, or no?
Oh yeah, so those are 2 big questions. One, musical artists growing up, Indigo Girls were a huge influence on me, and Sarah Harmer, Neil Young. So I learned guitar using Indigo Girls music books. And this year, actually, I'm going to Nashville in August to take a course by one of the Indigo Girls, which is sort of full circle for me. And then in terms of, my muse, I just tweeted about this yesterday. I was really sick, nothing serious, but just had a really bad flu at the beginning of March. And I binge watched the show Schitt's Creek. And so I kind of jokingly, but I think in all honesty, the relationship of 2 of the characters on that show, I did watch all that before I wrote this, so I kind of feel like there might have been some muse action going on there. But really what these songs are about, some of them are specifically about Romeo and Juliet. I tried to stay true to that story, but of course I used, my own experiences in love to express the thoughts and sentiments in these songs. All
right. So pretty much like when you were working on the band Trundled, was it like really hard trying to like find like someone, or was it like, do you end up performing with a old friend of yours, stuff like that?
Okay, so Trundled is myself and my bandmate Joe Shea, and that's a funny story because him and I met early 2000s playing open mic nights
Okay.
in Calgary. We both were students at the University of Calgary doing our masters there. But we didn't actually know each other from school. We knew each other from these coffee house open mic nights, and not super well. But he just ended up being someone I friended on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then, a decade and a half later, we ended up both moving to this mountain town from other parts of the world. And so I called him up and said, hey, we used to play guitar. Do you want to play guitar? And it was kind of awkward at first because we didn't know each other. And then we have really great musical chemistry. So our voices work really well together. And he's an amazing piano player and guitar player. And then we just started bringing out the best in each other and writing songs together. And that's sort of how Trundled happened.
Well, was it like really hard trying to match the musical styles from one another? Like you like playing the guitar while he plays like the piano or guitar?
It's funny, we do have a few sort of divergent musical tastes, but for the most part, I would say we have very similar taste in music, and kind of sealed the deal for me when he busted out on the piano. The song, it's not the theme song from Family Ties, but like a sitcom from back in the 80s.
Yeah.
He played this song that I just loved so much. I was like, that song? He's like, yeah, I love it. So we have kind of these matching tastes in the music that we like to listen to, which translates into the music that we write. Very rarely do we not enjoy each other's compositions. So yeah, no, it wasn't hard. We're just really connected in the music that we enjoy.
So like, all right. So what kind of genre were you and your bandmates were going for when you first started out and to now?
When we first started out, I was actually in a really not great place in life. I just had a not wonderful work situation, and I was little, I would say, to a lot depressed for the first time in my life. And so music was a way of kind of getting me out of this hole. So my songs were very raw, and it was about that journey I was going through. And then, we slowly progressed, and I became happier. And then my songs started to reflect that happiness. And more recently, I've dug into kind of just old relationships and love songs, and that's been really fun. I've recently written a song about my grandfather. So I feel like I've gotten a bit more experimental with themes. And then in terms of style, I just wrote something that seems almost more poppy. So if it was like kind of like heart-wrenching singer-songwriter before, now there's a lot more storytelling, and there's like a bit of like a poppy folk kind of thing happening. And we've been getting other people to join us on stage. We had a bass player and a drummer in Prince George, and we just recorded a single in Hamilton with a bass player and a drummer there as well. So a bit more of a louder sound for sure.
All right. Also, when you hear like local Ottawa artists, whether it's just a single like musical artist or like other bands, have you ever thought of like collaborating with some of like the local like artists you listen to, or no?
Yeah, so now home for me is Alberta, but I did actually approach Cornflower Blue. They're a local band that I knew when I was here. I moved from Ottawa about 3 years ago. Yeah. This is where I grew up. So we were actually going to put a show on together. So maybe that'll happen another time. It didn't work out for this trip. And back in Canmore, where I live, there's a huge musical community. And a lot of us are sort of in the same place in life where we've just discovered that this is what we need to be spending more of our time doing. And yeah, we have collaborated, put on shows together. It's really fun to not just have two acts, but I recently played a show with Laurie Reed of the Fates, and she and I had worked together on a few songs beforehand. So yeah, I love collaborating with other artists.
All right, and also, is there like some sort of show that you'll be performing later this week or next week, something like that?
Yeah, so I just performed last night at the Art House Cafe in Ottawa. I'm doing another show there tonight. It is sold out, but I don't know, we might be able to squeeze a couple more people in if people really want to come. And then I'm playing on Friday at Bar Robo from 5 to 7 p.m. So it's sort of an après work, stop in. There's no tickets, just if you want to catch a couple songs or stay for 2 sets, that's great. Love to see you. And those are my Ottawa shows that are coming up.
All right, so like, sorry, but that's just it's like a little early in the mornings, like, but when you were actually performing, either it's like live or like recording music, was it how fun it was from like the scale from 1 to 10?
How fun?
How fun it was when you like either performing live or when you're recording like music, trying to like finish like an album.
So it's way off the charts for me. So just to give you an idea, when I was really not happy last year, music was the only thing that was really making me truly happy. And it's off the charts for me. I would say my favorite thing to do is to write songs. So if I'm at home all day for 6 hours, I will just write songs that whole time if I have nothing else to do. But I do love performing, and being in a recording studio is so great, especially when I'm with musicians I don't typically play with. Putting on new layers is really fun. So yes, if I had to choose one thing and I couldn't, it would be to just songwrite all the time. But I do love performing. Yeah, it makes me really happy.
All right, so we sort of like come to the point where I would pretty much, since you're like the third guest like on my show, I have this segment called Production Junction. Well, the songs I chose were one from like a well-known anime from like way back in the 90s, which is the song is called Space Lion from the anime Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say it's kind of like the whole like song where it's like lyrics wise, but just kind of like more of like choir vibes. So I just want you to like give your thoughts on like what you like and what you don't like about it.
All right, sounds good.
All right, so like, what'd you like think of like the tone wise and kind of like the whole instrumental feel of the song?
I like it. That's the kind of thing that I would love to listen to when I'm, sitting at my computer, and I don't want lyrics to disturb me, and I just want to like feel a good vibe. I liked the earthy kind of drum beat there. I'm going to see Xavier Rudd this weekend in Banff, and that's kind of like that real deep drum beat's always nice. Something I don't have often in my music, so yeah. I think I appreciate it in others.
Like, have you ever thought of like considering adding some like drum beats or like traditional drums into your music in the future, or no?
Yeah, I mean, I would, believe me, I would love to be touring with a full band. It's just making it happen and finding the people that have the time and space in life to do it, and the cost, obviously. And the song we just recorded in Hamilton, we actually did have a drummer come in, and it was amazing to have him add the drums. And we had some cool, Joe's brother actually played bass and electric guitar, and he played sort of these like ethereal guitar sounds on our track. So when that comes out, I'll share it with you. But it really does change the music from just being sort of like that clean piano guitar. It changes it up a little. So I kind of like that funky electric backing stuff.
And also the second song came from like one of my favorite bands, Milky Chance. This is like one of the songs that actually got me hooked into like both of their albums. The song you're going to like start like give your opinion on, which is called Stolen Dance, which is like pretty cool in a way.
Shining anymore. The only thing I feel is pain, caused by absence of you.
That was great. Now I just want to listen to the whole song.
So like, what were like your thoughts on like the whole song part of like the song that you liked about it?
I would have to hear more to like fully get into it because I think the lyrics were getting my attention anyway. So I'd love to hear the rest of it. But yeah, I don't know. I just like the simple guitar, and I'm also seeing the video, so that's kind of neat to be able to see what this fellow looks like when he's playing. But yeah, it's kind of like that nice low raspy voice. He doesn't sound like Josh Ritter, but there's something about him that reminds me of Josh Ritter, who's another artist that I really like.
So like what I liked about this one is the fact that this came from their first album called Sad Necessary, and like what I liked about it's like how it's the kind of song where you can just like listen to it with like either whether it's by yourself or like maybe with a couple friends like out during like summers. So it's like more of like a summertime vibe, especially with the entire album.
Yes.
And they even like released like an album like last year, which is Blossom, which is also really good. Like depending on like what kind of mood you're in, it's like, you know what, like, oh yeah.
Is it all like kind of upbeat like this?
Oh yeah, it's mostly like upbeat kind of way. The fact
Yeah.
there's some that's like kind of like the mood where you just like sit down, just relax by yourself, while most of it's like upbeat. And so I noticed that you've brought your guitar with you, like, and also for the listeners out there, it's like the first time for this show where there's like a live performance, and like,
It's like
what
a true honor, Dauda. I'm really happy to be here.
honestly, like, I mean, this is only like the third episode of Inside Deez Mindz, and what song are you going to be performing for the listeners?
Well, I think what I'm going to play, it's hard to choose, but I think I want to play Love Knows, which is a song off of my new album.
All right.
And the cool thing about this is that just a month ago, maybe a little bit more, my friend Leanne Allison actually offered to make a video for this song. So I just released
cool.
that yesterday, and love to share that with your listeners, but it's on YouTube. My channel's Ellen Braun.
Yeah.
And I had a few other musicians come into the studio and record this, and she made a video out of it, and she's really talented. So just wanted to pump that, but yeah, I'd love to play that for you.
All right, let's get the show on the road.
All right. We knew that it was over when you started sleeping on the sofa. Not because I didn't want your arms around me, but because I didn't give enough. Yeah, love knows what it wants, and it pulls me away. Yeah, love knows what it wants, even when I'm begging it to stay. With you, my heart was digging in, and you couldn't quite let me go. You told me that you chose her, then you came for me, and I couldn't say no. Yeah, love knows what it wants, and it makes a fool of me. Yeah, love knows what it wants, and I wind up where I shouldn't be. Yeah, love knows what it wants. 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 I told love to go away and show sweet independence. I life alone, no harm, no foul, no prison sentence. But when it calls, I prostrate at the foot of love. I can't resist. My melting will knows what is on the other side, and I choose all of it. Yeah, love knows what it wants, and it pulls me in. Yeah, love knows what it wants, even when I don't want it to begin. Yeah, love knows what it wants. Yeah, love knows what it wants. Yeah, love knows what it wants. Oh, yeah, love knows what it wants. Yeah, love knows what it wants. Yeah, love knows what it wants. Oh, love knows what it wants. Love knows what it wants. Love knows what it wants.
Not gonna lie, that was the most beautiful thing I've heard all morning.
Thank you.
Honestly, like, not gonna lie, like, I mean, I've heard like a couple of your songs from like during like my year here at CKDJ, and honestly, like, it's somewhat, I wouldn't say it's similar to like Milky Chance with like the vibes, but it's like it's up there. The fact that it's like kind of like mellows out, like how you like just want to like listen to it with like a couple friends, whether it's on like a road trip or like maybe like somewhere like in Canada or like maybe in the US or maybe in like Europe. It has like kind of vibes, which is like pretty cool, which I loved about it.
Thanks, Dowda. That's really nice of you to say.
Like, it's just that have you ever want this song to like for the listener to like connect with in their personal lives or no?
Absolutely. I think I played a show last night, and there's a lot of people in the audience that I knew, so I don't know if that kind of like helped me have my guard down a little bit, or anyway, I feel like I was really singing from my heart, and I feel like a lot of people picked up on that. And it's interesting because some of them know what these songs are about for me, but I love when people take my songs and they mean something totally different or maybe the same to them. And yeah, it's very special to me when my song can speak to them.
All right, it's just honestly like yet again like that's pretty awesome. The fact that you rather have like that you like to make music that has people like connects in a certain way, whether it's like feels like they want to like go see like a couple of their friends they haven't seen like in years, or whether it's like with a family member, like which I find was like pretty cool though. The fact that it like even though like many people may not know it like at that certain moments, but till if they listen to it like whether it's like on repeat with like their playlist or whether they heard it for like the first time, just takes some time to get used to. It's like that's what I like to it. It's like it's the kind of song that's like relatable in a way, which is pretty cool though.
Great.
Like,
yeah. Well, I'd love people to love it. That makes it easier for me to live my life. But and to see the video, it's really beautiful with the cello and violin added into it. And Leanne is such an amazing filmmaker that it's just special that it's out there. So I'd love for people to see that as well.
all right, so since it's like even though like this episode seemed a little short for you guys, the fact that the last 2 episodes were like 30 minutes long, but I was wondering if you want to like do a quick plug on like your social medias and like any upcoming shows you
Sure.
doing.
Yes. So you can find me at Ellen Braun Music. So Braun is Braun. Ellen's ELLEN. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And my band Trundled, we're at Trundled Music on all of those platforms too. Trundled, TRUNDLED. And yeah, we've got shows coming up in Alberta, but some people are actually going out there. We're going to be playing at the Calgary Stampede in July, and playing Canada Day in Canmore. So if you're visiting the mountains, come check us out for sure. And I will drag Joe back to Ontario. He's originally from Hamilton, so we'll come back together sometime and we'll rock it out in Ottawa for sure.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to the studio and taking your time out of your day to like talk about some of the things that you love, and also thank you for like that good performance. That's an absolute banger. And if you guys want to find this third episode, you can go onto a SoundCloud, which is soundcloud.com/Dauda Doumbia, which if you want to spell it's DAOUDA And also you can like find the video version. Well, I wouldn't say video version of the podcast, which is on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/MrLegoman2007, and also on the my Podbean, which is also inside Deez Mindz. And also if you want to like follow me on Twitter, it's Naruto Nerd Herd, and also on Instagram, which is Yoda Dauda Force 29. And as always, see you later.
Thanks, Dauda.